So, how do we add and subtract unlike fractions? First, you find the lowest common denominator that both denominators go into. Then you're going to rewrite each fraction as an equivalent fraction whose denominator is the LCD. Remember, you can create equivalent fractions by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same thing. Our goal is to get our fractions to have a common denominator so that we can add or subtract them. Once you have a common denominator, add or subtract, keep the denominator as it is, and then lastly, simplify your fraction. Find the difference 3/4 minus 5/6. The LCD of 4 and 6 is 12. 4 is 2 times 2, 6 is 2 times 3, so we need 2 2's and a 3, which multiplies out to be 12. Step 2 is to rewrite each fraction with a denominator of 12. Recall that to turn 4 into 12 you'd multiply it by 3. This is the same as long as I do it to top and bottom. So 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. To get 5/6 to be 12, I'm going to need to multiply 6 by 2. 6 by 2 is 12, and then to keep my balance, I have to keep the same thing on the top. 5 times 2 is 10. So now rewrite the problem with our common denominators. We said 3/4 was 9/12, and 5/6 is 10/12. Now we have a common denominator, so keep that denominator and subtract your numerators. 9 minus 10 is a -1. Again, if you need to rewrite this as adding a negative. Again, you can write your answer as either a -1/12 with a -1 in the numerator, or write the negative simply in front of the fraction. In this case, they are simplified, so -1/12 is in lowest terms and is your final answer. Another example. Find the sum of -5/12 plus 5/9. Let's use prime factorization to find the LCD. 12 is 2 times 2 times 3, and 9 is 3 times 3. We're going to need 2 2's and 2 3's in our LCD. The 2 2's and that first 3 covers our 12, and the 2 3's cover our 9. This gives us a common denominator of 36. Now we have to rewrite both fractions with the denominator of 36. To turn 12 into 36, we're going to multiply by 3. It is pretty clear from the LCD that factors of 12 cover 2 times 2 times 3, so the only extra piece is this 3. Multiply 5 times 3 and 12 times 3, and you get -15/36. To turn 9 into 36, you're going to multiply by 4. Again, from our LCD, it is fairly obvious. The 3 and 3 are our factors of 9. The extra piece is a 2 times 2, or 4. Multiply both top and bottom by 4, and you get 20/36. Now rewrite with our common denominators. 5/12 is 15/36, and 5/9 is 20/36. Now we're going to add -15 plus 20, keep our common denominator. That winds up being a positive 5/36. That is in lowest terms, so your final answer is 5/36. Another example. Find the difference of 4 minus 2/3. Think of 4 as 4/1. Recall that any number or letter or anything at all can be rewritten as a fraction by putting it over 1. The LCD for 1 and 3 is going to be 3. Anytime you have a denominator of 1, the other denominator will be your LCD. To get 1 to be 3, you just multiply it by 3, so 4/1 is 12/3. And 2/3 already has the LCD. Rewrite them. Only the 4 needs to be rewritten. The 2/3 already had our common denominator. And now we will subtract 12 minus 2, and we get 10/3. It is in lowest terms, so we are done. This is in lowest terms. This is an acceptable final answer. If you want to, you can convert it to mixed numbers, but we're not going to be working with mixed numbers till after spring break. Find the sum of 1/4 plus b/5. The LCD between 4 and 5 is 20. In this case, they're relatively prime to each other. That is, they have no common factors, so you can just multiply 4 times 5 and get 20. To rewrite it, we're going to multiply 4 times 5, so we have to do the same thing to the top, and we get 5/20. To turn 5 into 20, we're going to multiply by 4, do the same thing in the top, and we get 4b/20. Rewrite each fraction with the common denominator. 1/4 becomes 5/20, b/5 becomes 4b/20. Add 5 plus 4b/20, and that's it. That is in the lowest terms, we cannot combine 5 and 4b. This has a variable, this does not. They cannot be combined, and so you're done. And I know a lot of students look at this and they say there's no way that's the final answer, but that is the final answer. You cannot do anything else with this problem. You cannot partially simplify a fraction. Remember, simplifying has to do with multiplying and dividing. We got a plus sign hanging out here that we haven't dealt with. You cannot simplify when you have plus signs just hanging around in a fraction. And because we can't add this, we're done. Find the difference of 2/3 minus 6 over x. Again, 3 and x have nothing in common, so just multiply them to get our common denominator of 3x. To rewrite 2/3 as 3x, multiply top and bottom by x. To get 6 over x to have a denominator of 3x, multiply top and bottom by 3. Rewrite our fractions with our common denominators. We have 2x over 3x and 18 over 3x. And subtract 2x minus 18. Again, that's it. We're done. You cannot combine the numerators and you cannot partially simplify. This subtraction needs to happen before you can simplify. And since we cannot subtract, we cannot simplify. Lastly, some application problems with adding and subtracting fractions. Marcus is framing a painting for his mother. If the frame needs to be 2/3 feet wide and 5/8 feet long, how much framing material will Marcus need? A frame goes around the outside edge of a picture, so we are looking for the perimeter. To find the perimeter, you add all the sides together. Length plus width plus length plus width. We know length is 5/8 feet and width is 2/3 feet. So plug them into our formula. Notice how they all have feet. We can pretty much tack the feet at the end or ignore it altogether till your final answer. To get a common denominator, the common denominator between 8 and 3 is 24. Again, 8 and 3 have no common factors, so you just multiply them together. Do the same thing to top and bottom. And you get 15 over 24 plus 16 over 24 plus 15 over 24 plus 16 over 24. When you add all of this together, you wind up getting 62 over 24 feet. You can simplify that. You can take a factor of 2 out, and you get 31 over 12 feet. Again, that is your final answer. Marcus needs 31 over 12 feet of framing material. You can rewrite it as a mixed number, but we will not deal with mixed numbers until we come back from spring break. That concludes the section for 4.4. Please finish the worksheet for section 4.4, then check the key or come to class, then finish the online homework for section 4.4, and then prepare for our first exam. Our first exam is our next thing. It is a large chunk of your grade. For many of you, passing this class depends upon passing this exam. In fact, for all of you, passing this class depends on passing this exam. I have a review posted in D2L by the end of this week, so that will be by Friday, the 22nd, sorry. Friday the 22nd. And make sure you do the review. I will also be opening up the online homeworks for review. It will not add to your grade, but it will help in practicing for the final or for this exam, and this exam helps your grade. And yeah, if you have any other questions about the exam, please contact me.